Hey, hello guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Phumzile Akapatedi, the girl next door. Conversations with Phumzile time. Hey, welcome. So today I thought let me just come and have this conversation with you about what? Okay, let me see. So on the pointers down, I wrote my story, my journey, my purpose. So that's what I want to talk about today. This is what I want to share today. So I'll just repeat what I've said in one of my previous videos. I don't remember which one. That why conversations with Phumzile, how this concept started. So it started as an event-based conversation where I invite people to come over and I invite guests that will share a platform with me where we talk about everything, different topics and all that. So, and how this came about also was I was invited at Ikwekwezi FM as a life coach with different types of topics that they wanted us to talk about. But I felt that the time was like so limited because I could talk about like a big topic that needs possibly like a long time or a lot of time, not 15 minutes or 20 minutes, where you can articulate so many things. So I saw it fitting to start with a session where we have a public and then we share, we talk. And COVID happened, and then with it happening, it gave birth to the YouTube channel. I've been seeing a lot of people doing YouTube channels. I follow, I also, engage with some because it's been good to hear other people talking about different things that I am interested in that are growing me as an individual in different spaces of my life, be it a career, be it personal lifestyle, motivation, you can name them all. You can think of any. So part of my journey has been the big why. I love conversations. I love talking to people about different things. And it has been like really fulfilling, because I would walk away from a conversation feeling very light, feeling very you know developed or motivated by individuals and by their lives. So why I like the space, or why I want to continue and have this going on, is I feel like we have role models. We have people that are so close to us that have so much depth, that have so much impact, in our lives. But because it's a personal space, it's people next door. That's why girl next door. It's people next to our lives that we live with, that we share the general life with, be it colleagues, be it the next door neighbor, our parents, our friends, their kids. So, but we don't get to hear such stories. We watch TV, we see your Oprahs of this world. I love her. The Ianlas of this world. I love and adore them. But listening to them and getting in touch, or following their platforms, I learn, I grow, but they're far-fetched, like it's sometimes you will really definitely will never meet them. I know Oprah came to South Africa. I was not even able to afford the ticket. But it's those people that are so inspirational, but they're so big and too far-fetched. So this, for me, became like, you know what? I know people who share more or less the same concept, or the same sure depth, that we can talk to. So this is why I invited few people that we had conversations with when I did the event last year. So this is the continuation based on that. So I've asked people to let me know what type of topics that they would like us to have, and so that I can have an idea of people to invite, people that are reachable, that we can talk to, somebody who doesn't have to be a brand, somebody who doesn't have to be a household name when we're looking at the social life or TV or entertainment industry, but people who are closest to us. So I thought today, but let it be my story, and share why I feel like our stories, they have so much impact. They have so much that other people can learn from or discover themselves. We see a lot of Me Too stories. The Me Too stories, they don't come from nowhere. They come from individuals who have experienced something and somebody else experienced the same, but how they dealt with those things, it's different. Others come out of it better, others worse. So this is why I like talking about my life mostly. I like talking to people about their lives. So my story, sure, my journey. I was born and bred Soweto, Edlamini, Phumzile wakwaDlamini, from Edlamini. Oh, I used to love that line. When somebody will ask me, yeah, like, when Kavalako, like, hey, Phumzile wakwaDlamini, from Edlamini. So it made me feel so important. It made me feel like, okay, I grew up in Afunda KZN. So where the story or the clan name, where there will be people who are living in the same area, Martin, like I forgot some, like the Zuma clan. You ask to okay, lapaya, Guazuma and Inkosi Zuma or something like that. You get the drift. You should get the drift. So people will ask me if my father is a king, or we come from that background. So that made me feel so empowered. And I held on to that story as a young girl because it really made me feel good about myself. The concept of my being, my name, and my surname means something big beyond myself that I knew about myself. I knew where I come from. I knew my 4-room house, Yasekaya, before Ikula Iba, what it is now. But the view from people made me feel different. There's a story there. How we view ourselves and how other people view you. That's one of the topics that I would wanna, indulge you on some other time. So yeah, grew up in Lamini, and then I moved to a KZN. I'm just skipping all the primary level to high school. So I went to three high school identity crisis galore. But the experiences that I had in each and every one of them made this person today who I am today, because everything that went on in a different institution had a certain impact, because the experiences that I had there made me who I am today. Why I say that? The first one, I went to, actually, was it three? One, two, three, actually four. So the first one was in Mkashweni. So it was not a boarding school, it was in Mkashweni, where, as a typical Soweto girl, ngahlala eNkandla. Yes, eMfongosi. So that area, so inkomo, the heart, ngafunda khona ukusinda, things that as a Joburg child, I was never going to be exposed to. Alent ukuhamba ukuyotheza, ukuyokha amanzi emfuleni, and so that experience taught me so much in life about general responsibilities, simple things like ukuyokha amanzi emfuleni and coming back at a certain time, that had a massive impact in terms of isikhathi ubuya ngaso and why amanzi kumele angene ngobani isikhathi ejardini. So those things that an average child now, like at Joburg, will never understand, because amanzi akhona seduze, you open the tap, voila, water is there. So ukuphatha ukuthwala amanzi ukuthi uze ufike nawo that long distance, ufike nawo ejardini angakho half aphelele, so that the family tomorrow can be able to, so in lelo bagete, they must be able to bath, they must be able to cook. So those things, was amazing experience, because you learn to share, you learn to that's where I learned to preserve, and make sure ukuthi uyazi ukuthi into oyiphathele oyithathayo, it's so important because it will serve others. So lawo manzi oyowakha ngebhakede are not only for you, they are for the whole family. So caring and sharing and knowing that responsibility lies with you ukuthi mawubuye namanzi half or ufike achithekile endleleni where if you went late you don't come back nalawo manzi leyo, the impact tomorrow that will affect everybody. So those kind of things, ukuyotheza inkuni, ukuyophanda because besingasithengi, so I had to learn ukuthi ama-natural resources, how we get them, the way we got them, they were there. And akukaze kube nelanga whereby akuna kudla, eziko, because inkuni azikho. You go fend, you go uyosithola inkuni, uzikape, uzihlube, uzenzeni, ubuye nazo usithandele, uthwale, ulethe endlini so that kuzokwazi ukuthi kuphekwe, kuzokwazi ukuthi la hlala khona kube warm. Now just electricity, heater and all that here in Joburg. So that life has made me who I am today because I have that understanding and I have this understanding. I know I'm a privileged and I know people who are not privileged. And I was part of that life whereby I've experienced not being privileged because being there for the year, that was my life. When I came back home to Joburg, it felt different. I couldn't even connect anymore with my life, Ekaya, Joburg, Egoli, than there. Yes, it was a short space of time, but actually, when I was in Kanda, like simple life, simple things, ukuyodlala, ukuhamba uyotheza without worrying about cars, without worrying about being jackrolled or anything that was happening around that time was blissful. Ukufunda ukusinda, ukuqa ngamadolo, ukusinda, ukukorobha phansi, and using ubulongwe, using that as a means to polish the house, and it will smell so nice, so good, those kind of things not everybody is lucky to experience, if you are not born in that environment. And then I moved to the next one. I moved to my first boarding school. It was St. Augustine, Engutu. There it was a girls only boarding school. I would say that's where my story began, of understanding myself now as a woman. I would say, yeah, after teen, but as a woman, where you start developing everything else. You start understanding emotions, you start understanding friendships, you start understanding what it means to have others in your life, that you depend on. That life taught me so much about having friends, having people who will have your back, people who will take care of you at your worst, people who will take care of you when you don't even understand yourself at the time. And I didn't talk about why I left, which it will link up as I go. So discovering myself, I think that's where I started to understand falling in love with a human being. I will put it as human being. Because, I've never been in love before that time. I met guys who liked me and all that, but I didn't understand anything about romantic involvement. I didn't understand anything about being attached to somebody else emotionally. And I learned that there. Now, how I went to study outside of Joburg, outside of Soweto, Idlamini, I was gang raped. So here, the Me Too story, when I was young. And I was doing, I think, my grade, what are the grades? Okay, I can't remember the grades now, or I can put the grades within this context here this year. But I was my first high school, standard 6. There we go, standard 6. And I failed my standard 6. So when I failed, my mom, felt like I was playing, I was not concentrating, being to school, all of those things, because she didn't know what was happening at the time. and I stopped going to school. So hence my report: no exams, no tests, no what, and I had to repeat the class. But she thought, you know what? Because maybe I am growing, I'm being a girl, and I'm being noticed, or all of those things are being naughty. Then she decided to send me to KZN, where I can at least possibly concentrate and not have time for friends, because yes, I was so big on friendships even then. Ukudlala nje estradeni and always be with other people playing or sizula or going. That was me, or everywhere else. That was me. So I shut down at the time when I went to my first KZN school, the one that I talked about previously. The focus there was learning about the environment. I found myself in a place where I felt like I didn't belong, but I so belonged. It was home. It felt like home. You know, abantu bengihlala nabo, they felt like brothers, like real brothers and sisters, which is something that I never had at home, because firstborn vibes, I'm older, I have siblings, so nobody took care of me that way, and I got to find that. So the next one, where it was a girls only, where I started understanding emotions, running away from me being gang raped. I shut down, understanding that as a woman, my attraction will be with males, and how I should be feeling when a male is wanting to have a relationship with me, because I missed that. I grew up fearing being with any man or any guy, because yes, you can't do this, you can't play with boys, uzomita. That was the concept. There was no story about you're gonna fall in love, your body will develop, you will have feelings, you would want to have a sexual intercourse with somebody else, and this is how it will feel or not feel, or this is, it will be good for you or not good for you, depending on the age you got pregnant. So all those things are never connected with male figures or male partners that time. So when the rape happened, when I was gang raped, that changed my understanding completely, because I blocked male figures in a relationship format, if I may say that, where, you know, romance as we know now, where we see on TV, you meet somebody, they like you, like them, you vibe, you know, that whole story. I didn't know that. Then I meet like women. Now life is about, it's we all women in the school, from standard 6 to matric, women only. To date, the story of women fighting each other or having issues with each other and all that, which sometimes it's not 100% truth, because we, you know, we share different stories when it comes to women. In a corporate world, yes, you would fight because maybe you're fighting for positions, or in relationships you're fighting for a man, or whatever the case might be. But that's where a story of women in one place taking care of each other, you know, being there when we miss home, you know, can confide in each other and all that. I learned love. I learned to be loved by somebody else, human being. The romantic involvement was not a concept. You would have somebody saying, you know. At first, I didn't know what does that baby one thing mean, you know, but I got to understand, when you say yes to somebody, ati ube baby one, it means you're gonna be my girlfriend, you're gonna be my partner along this journey, you know. And that, for me, was my story of finding comfort and physically understanding my being as a woman. I'm not talking about my sexuality. I'm talking about understanding how I feel as a woman, and knowing, like, my physical parts as a woman that belonged to me. I learned that there. And discovering, you know, as girls, I think most girls, I'm not going to generalize, but most girls, if you like a boy or somewhere or somebody, there is a time where girls will kiss each other, teaching each other how to kiss, or how to do whatever romantic thing. So at first it felt like that was that type of moment where you get to learn with, oh, okay, when you're gonna be dating somebody, you're gonna be kissing, and this is how it happens and all that. I found comfort from one friend that I met there, who the baby one story, who I loved dearly. She was older than me. I think she was not matric though, but she was my senior. She took care of me, my emotional part, when I was missing home, or when I didn't even know how I'm feeling. She understood almost everything, and I was able to tell her about my ordeal. And from that moment, she started taking care of me differently, if I may say so, where if I would cry or if I would have a long face, she will be there to find out what's wrong, what's going on. If I can't sleep, she will just make sure that, okay, I'm gonna share a bed with you, or come share a bed with me, type of thing. It the relationship was beautiful and very, very innocent. There was no concept of we are dating or siyajola, or ngizokubona ngobani isikhathi wenzani ngobani isikhathi. it, it was not that. That environment was so comfortable for me and so peaceful that I was able to maybe start or begin the journey of healing about what happened to me, even though it was not counseling. But I got to understand how other girls are talking about boys and all that, how you get robbed of your femininity, of your being, by somebody else who that you didn't give them, yourself. So I found comfort. Sure, going back makes me feel kind of emotional, but I'm not gonna do it here. So yeah, it was beautiful. So my story of my sexuality be- began there, if I may say so. Falling in love or having a feeling of loving another being there. Beautiful journey. I cannot show. I don't know how to even explain it, but I'm grateful for it because it taught me to understand another human being and how to have certain emotions, or have an emotional attachment to somebody else. Then I moved again. Story of my life. To another one. I said 4. So actually it was 3. I was right the first time around. I moved to the other one where now it's boys and girls, and now different story. So that was Olundi, yeah, baloya babaloya ngeke ngimbize ngegama ngoba ngiyamhlonipha. Olundi emahlabathini, another boarding school, a Roman Catholic boarding school. Whew. Now religion comes to place. I'm learning something new. Back at home, my mom, Beka Sontezioni, I was born Catholica, but I've never been to a Catholic church with my parents or with my dad, even though I was born under that religion, something like that. So now I get to understand the full religion, the church, the process, the understanding, praying using a rosary, the songs, the whole shebang. And now the whole concept of sure, what can I, and like understanding that I'm a Roma, uphila nabo sister nabo father, there's that purity about as a woman, your sexual being, and that you must cover yourself, fully. You can't show knees, you can't show this. You need to respect yourself. Maybe the easy way is, as a woman, you need to always dress in a way that is your body is not revealing, as as a sign of, or like self-respect. So yeah, that was that new concept all together. Yes, my mom, very strict woman, very, very, very strict. But in her being strict, and my dad, oh, my dad, sure. But in her being strict, I was never restricted in terms of what to wear, how I wear it, and all that. And actually, I think when I was younger, I used to wear like shortest, like inches, those. And now I can see my yellow skirt flashing back. So yes, I used to wear like shortest things ever. I never had to worry about my appearance or my body, or as if my there's something wrong with showing your body, not necessarily your private parts. Like there was no boobs out and all that, but just, short skirts. I was young, I was a girl. And for me, my mom taught me it was a symbol of your innocence. If you don't know better, then there's no reason to hide anything. Now I'm in a different space whereby you must hide. If you dare show, yeah, you are something else. If you dare wear anything like, the knee is out, you are something else. Difficult transition. And again, boys, I struggled, because now I got to learn to be myself and enjoy my being as a woman and being comfortable as a woman. And now there's boys, and oh my goodness, the fights I had there. Oh my goodness. So I'm a strong being. I think I by my qualities. So yeah, strong headed. I would talk about anything and everything. I can do anything and everything because I was free, from a lot of things. Now I get to a situation whereby there's the whole gender issues and roles. As a woman, you can't do this. Oh my goodness. I don't know how much to share on this journey, but I can come back to the story of my sexuality, if I may put it like that. Then I met the father of my babies, of course. There, I struggled being in a relationship with a male. I tried to find myself with different male figures, others, yes, friends, others who had interior motives. And I had a lot of friendships, or I would have, like, let me say, I had a lot of relationships. Let me put it like, I related to a lot of guys. Some, yes, it started as a friendship and then it became a romantic relationship. But there was an issue when it comes to the physical connection, which was hard. And another sad story is that in that type of an environment, when you are a girl and you hang around with a lot of boys, there's a stigma. Then you get named, all the other names that you can think of that I'm not gonna say here. Because my kids will still watch this YouTube video. But there's, you get that tag, which actually it's a wrong tag, because they don't even know how far your relationships or your friendships with those different individuals is, or where, or are. So yeah, that happened, and it was a struggle for me because physically, in terms of letting myself be attached to another human being like that, was difficult. I was now used to be comfortable with sharing my personal close space with a woman. That time, it was prior 94, so the concept of LGBT didn't exist. Nada, nothing. So it was just life. It was how things were. So I've never had to identify myself as a straight woman, a gay woman, a lesbian, or a bisexual being, which I still struggle to this day to say, to talk about sexuality and then have an identification of my sexuality. So I know that I've had relationships with human beings. That's all I know. That's all I still know now, where I would be attracted to a human being. And whatever the relationship that I have with that human being will be just that, with that particular human being. Where the sexuality is concerned, I try to figure it out in different ways, which story for another day. I hope I can come back and share that particular story. So that was my high school life and my being as a sexual being, as a woman, as somebody who grew up a Soweto and somebody who had a privilege to grow up a KZN. So this is part one. So this is part one of my story, my journey, my purpose. So that's part of my story. So the next part, I'll cover life after high school, me being a mother, me getting married, and work and everything else. And then we'll have another part where I will discuss my journey to where I am now and why I feel sometimes sharing our stories is so powerful, because sometimes you might think you are just sharing, but you don't know how somebody else on the other side can relate to something that you've gone through, that they are going through now. And possibly at the time it will be difficult. Like I remember, I feel like if I met the older version of me when I was in high school, life would have been different. And but we don't share such stories. So my part now is I would like to share some of my life, hoping that it will help somebody else to say it's okay to go through life as it is and not defined and not put in a box or a category of this should happen to you, this shouldn't happen to you, this must happen, this mustn't happen. But let life be, so that as you grow, you get to understand why it had to happen, why it had to happen to you, and why you being here on earth and have other people come into your life every day, from being a child, a teen, an adult, somebody. Why? It's because everything that is part of your journey, that is happening in your journey, doesn't just happen. It happens to you because there's a purpose about your life that has to serve others. So thank you so much. I know I can go on and on and on and on, but I think let me not make it longer than it is already now. So let me say goodbye and thank you for tuning in. See you on the next channel, on the next video. So please subscribe, like, hit the bell, so that when I post another video you will be first to be notified. Thank you so much. Conversations with Phumzile. Love you.